Here's everything you need to make these chicken tenders. 500 grams of chicken thighs that are boneless, 1 tablespoon of freshly ground pepper, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a fourth of a cup of pickle juice, which is optional, 1 large egg, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and a cup of buttermilk. Let's start by making that buttermilk. So I'm going to take a half a cup of milk. This is whole milk, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons or a full lemon worth of lemon juice. And we're just going to mix it and leave it onto the side. What will happen is it will curdle and make a really fast buttermilk, and that's really what you need for this recipe. Now onto the chicken. I chose thighs because they have the most amount of fat and they're the juiciest. You can use the breast if you like. The only thing here is that I cut them about 3 inches in length. You can go thinner just because the crumb coat will be a lot thicker, so it's up to you. So time for the marination. In a bowl we're going to add our chicken. To that we're going to add our buttermilk and all the ingredients I listed out before. There is no real choice as to why these ingredients are there. They're all just nice flavorants to add, and you can add whatever flavors and powders and what spices that you want to add, but these are traditionally the ones that I would. Mix everything up together, and that's pretty much it. We're just going to take this and put this in the fridge overnight. Ideally, if you can keep it for at least 2 hours, that's great, but if you can do it overnight, it'll be even better. Here's everything you need to make that amazing crunchy breading that is essential to this chicken tender. For this you need 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 large eggs, and about 2 cups of oil. So whenever you're creating a crust for any kind of fried food, you would need 3 elements. You need something that is a binder, you need one thing that is the base crust, and of course the marinated product. So for the base crust, we're going to add all of our spices into our flour. And the corn flour is kind of essential because it adds that added crispiness. So that's one part of the breading. The second part is the binder, and in this we're going to use 2 large eggs. Now you can take more eggs if you like, and it really depends on the size of your chicken, but 2 large eggs worked for me, and that's all I need. And the last thing you need is a bowl of your marinated chicken. I hope you marinated overnight, but if you didn't, it'll still taste great. The first part of the recipe requires us to take our marinated chicken and put them in just the flour and place all of them together. So this is called the first batch of the process. This allows for all of that flour to come in, but also allows for everything to be coated so that it doesn't touch hot oil. Now the second part of this is actually the really interesting part, where we're going to take some of this wet marinade and we're going to take about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this wet marinade and we're going to pour it into our flour. And I'm going to show it right now. I don't know why we haven't already shown it. There you go. So we're going to take all of this marinade, put it in, and what this does is that it creates very small granular crumbs. And now when we take the egg and put it in egg...
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Sorry, take the chicken and put it in the egg and then put it into the flour. We're actually going to create some really, really crackly and delicious crumbing. Let's get frying now. So we're going to take our oil, we're going to put it in a medium hot heat. And not really higher than that. We're going to slowly increase the heat to 180 degrees Celsius, at which we're going to start dropping our chicken. Now for the chicken, one of the things I did was that I put it in the freezer for about 30 minutes before I put it in. That just allows for everything to kind of settle in before you start frying everything. The frying process takes about 5 minutes on each side. Essentially you're trying to get to a golden brown color, not very deep brown, because then when you leave it and take it off the heat, it will still cook a little bit and add more color to it. This recipe actually came out really, really well. It's best to have it hot and serve with some lemon. It takes some time, of course, like it took some time here, but such a great recipe. And there you have it, chicken tenders made from scratch. Add some salt while it's still hot, add some lemon juice on top, and get cracking. You can get the full recipe from my blog, and as always, happy cooking.